Woe be to him who says the Lord has said when the Lord has not said. That's talking about speaking to someone else about what you think God said to you for them. Absolutely. You should be. That's a whole different thing. You want to speak to someone else about what God said. When I talk about making mistakes in hearing from God, what I mean is just not knowing for sure what he said. And it's okay. It's all right, because that's that seeing through a glass darkly part. It's necessary to learn what's you and what's him. And that's where you're seeing things in part and not in the whole yet. And you have to learn. No, you don't come off your top of your head and start telling everybody everything that you think God is saying, in the sense that, oh, it's for them. I mean, you can talk about what God says to you for you, but you always have to keep it with that grain of salt. It's like, if I'm talking about it to somebody else, then I need to be mindful that what I'm saying is true. But between you and God alone, you see, you can make the mistake of misunderstanding or misinterpreting what he's saying, and he's not going to hold it against you. And making those mistakes along the way is part of that growing and learning process. And you got to be willing to grow and learn, right? You got to be willing to make mistakes. Or else, how are you going to get there? And when it comes to being there, as I'm talking about, which is, say, fully grown and fully mature in your understanding of who the Lord is and how he speaks to you, he's going to have to take you there. I can't even tell you exactly what that is. I know what it is for me. I know what it was for me. But it took 20 years, and there was a point at which the Lord finally led me to the place in my heart, and I saw him in my heart. It shocked me. It set me down in my seat. It made me shut my mouth. And it awed me, and it stayed with me forever. From that point on, I could always tell where he was inside me. Not that I didn't already know, because I already knew he was in my heart. It's just I really saw it. For me, that was the moment that everything just became solid for me. But I still make mistakes in my personal life, my personal walk with God. But I know he doesn't hold it against me. And it doesn't. See, okay, there's a principle in a verse that says, if you're already doing what's good, and then great. But if in anything you're lacking, then God will perfect that thing. I want to kind of remember the words exactly, but the point is that what you have already attained to, walk by the same rule, mind the same thing. If in anything else you are not perfect, God is able to reveal it to you. That's halfway comforting, but let me say, by experience, I know it's even more comforting than it might sound at first, because what I found out is that God will correct you, and get you on the right track before anybody knows the difference, before anybody else can see that you ever went off track in the first place. He'll correct you in your heart, right? Before anybody sees the outcome in the natural. You might have a wrong idea, or you might be getting a wrong idea as you're going through this, and God is revealing himself to you. You might get the wrong idea somehow. What happens, of course, you can get a revelation from God about himself, but your experience mars it. You know that. I mean, it's simple. Your experience mars it. That is, what you've heard before, what you've learned at other times from other people, other things people have said, or just life experience sometimes doesn't match up with a revelation of God, because we live in a fallen world. You might get a wrong idea about God, but as long as you stay connected to God throughout, it won't last but a couple days maybe, and he's going to just, open it up to you a little more and make it a little easier for you to understand. And you'll realize, I was kind of misstepping there. As long as you just don't get stubborn in your beliefs. I'm talking about the beliefs that God is revealing to you. Don't get stubborn in your beliefs and be stuck on some idea that just because you think God said it to you, that you're going to be stubbornly sticking to it till the day you die, even though you're not sure, or you think you're sure. See, that's a big problem, and it's the whole idea about belief is crazy, because you think you're sure, you think you believe it, you think part of believing is just gritting your teeth and believing it with all your might. That's some nonsense. I'm telling you, that's called will worship. It's not real believing. Real believing is, like I always say, I'm sitting right here at a picnic table. My hands are on the table. All right? I don't believe that I'm going to fall through this seat anytime soon. I'm secure right here in this seat. I'm good. That's believing. I believe I'm going to be just fine right here. Simple belief. Why do I say that? Because when you get staunchly believing about whatever it is you believe, I'm not saying that you can't have a staunch belief in something. You can, and you should, because there is truth. When you find truth, real truth that you know is true all the time for everyone, you should staunchly believe that. There is right and wrong. There is good and evil. There is truth and lies. But you are not the big judge who knows what they are. You know that. I mean, that's just common sense, right? I mean, there's no problem. You've been wrong before in your life, and you know how it is to be wrong. It's no problem. You shouldn't even get embarrassed about it, though. That's another thing that comes with maturity. You don't get embarrassed about being wrong. You're just wrong. And when you realize that you're wrong and you're willing to accept the truth comes from God. And the truth will come from God in your heart. He'll correct those things that you misunderstand. He'll do it as you stay connected to Him. In the meantime, while you have that false understanding, right, He'll also protect you from it causing any great damage in your life. And there's a big one. If you stay connected with Him, right, He'll also keep you from damaging others, from telling a falsehood that will lead people astray. Okay? Because really, when you talk about the things of God, the most important thing is that your heart is right. That you're doing it not for yourself. I mean, you do sort of do it for yourself, but the point is that you do it out of a heart of love because you want to share the good thing that God is and to share His goodness with others. I'm not going to say that if you do that, you can't go wrong, because in a sense, you still can if you have a wrong opinion about things. Okay? Your opinion about things should be true, and it should be your effort to want to be correct about things. Again, though, the motivation is not because I want to be right and then be wrong. The motivation is about giving people something that's just healthy to their heart. Something that just, inside, they can take it and live on it because it's solid and good and sure and sustaining. How good is our God? He's super good. So yeah, you can be wrong, and it's not going to really be a problem because God's going to cover you. But it's true. I mean, just thinking about it right now. See, I don't want to just be wrong, but God will cover me either. I want to be right. Not for the sake of being right, but for the sake of saying something that people can really rely on. And I'm telling you, though, that you can rely on this, that in your personal life, between you and God alone, which is what counts the most, because He'll lead you into all things, He'll lead you into all truth. In your personal life, God doesn't mind if you make mistakes. He likes to help you. This is a journey, in essence, and from God's point of view, you have all the time in the world. You're already an eternal creature in His mind. He's paid a price for it. Why wouldn't you be?